Hello, fictional. Welcome to the Fiction Series X. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei was Road of the Dragon King? Part 2. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Issei was currently being dragged to the old school building, still crying a river of tears. Can you let me go now? He asked the person dragging him. The person in question was Kaneko Taoju, a first-year student at Kuo Academy and is also believed to be the school mascot. She looked back at the boy and gave him a quick no, which only made Issei cry more. Behind the two of them were the two great beauties of Kuo, also known as Rias Gremory and Akeno Himejima. The two looked at Issei with smiles on their faces, almost as if seeing a boy being dragged by a much shorter girl is normal for them. Then again, these girls did use Magisi, think Issei thought. Kaneko, Akeno and I are gonna go on ahead, okay. Rias tells Kaneko. Okay. Alright. We'll see you there. Rias and Akeno then teleport with magic circles underneath them. Holy shit, they can teleport, Issei thought in shock. He then looked over at the girl dragging him. So where exactly are we going? Issei asked her. Old school building. Why? Because. You guys aren't gonna hurt me, are you? That depends. Depends on what? You. Issei sighed heavily. It was bad enough that he felt stupid for trying to strike up a conversation while being dragged, but it was apparent that Kaneko wasn't the talkative type. Or maybe it's that she didn't like him. Maybe both. I wonder who these people are. And what do they want with me? Issei thought while looking back at Kaneko once more. Hey, mind letting me walk? Issei asked calmly. Kaneko looked back at the boy, her face showed annoyance at Issei's insistence of wanting her to release him. Eventually, she realized that it didn't matter whether she let him go or not. After all, even if he did try to run, she could catch him easily. Kaneko suddenly released him, causing the boy to drop to the ground a low grunt. He quickly got up and began walking with her to their destination. Issei and Kaneko eventually made it to the old school building. The two head inside and Issei noticed that it seemed to be in good condition despite the fact that it's been practically abandoned. The two stop in front of a door labeled Occult Research Club. This made Issei smirk in amusement. Occult Research Club? I didn't know Rias was into that shit. Kaneko opens up the door to the club room, revealing a room with weird symbols all over the walls and ceiling. On the floor is a large circle in the center. There's also a couch and a chair on each side. Near the windows is a large desk where Rias is currently sitting in. Welcome, Issei, she smiled at him as Kaneko went to sit on the couch and pulled out a chocolate bar. Issei went to sit on the couch as well. Hey, Issei said, clearly feeling awkward about this. What the hell do these girls want? Akeno handed Issei a cup of tea. Here you go, she said while bending down, her chest jiggling slightly. Holy shit, Issei thought while staring at Akeno's chest. She let out a light chuckle before going over to stand next to Rias. So, Issei, Rias said, you're probably wondering why you're here. Yeah. That was gonna be my first question. I understand that you have a lot of questions right now, but I want you to save them for later. First, I'd like to introduce ourselves to you. My name is Rias Gremory, the president of the Occult Research Club. She's probably doing this as a form of courtesy. I mean, who wouldn't know these girls? Issei thought as Rias continued. And this is Akeno, our vice president, she introduces Akeno, while Akeno herself gives a wave to Issei with a smile that seems to be permanently glued to her face. The person sitting next to you is Kaneko. Kaneko barely looked at Issei before continuing to eat her chocolate. And the person in the corner over there is Yudo. She points to the back corner of the room to reveal a blonde boy around the same age as Issei with rather handsome features, giving a light wave and a gentle smile, while saying hey. Yudo was literally the most popular guy in school and received the nickname the Prince of Kuo. He was also considered to be Issei's self-proclaimed arch-nemesis. Yuau! Issei suddenly shouts at the top of his lungs while pointing at the blonde boy who looked shocked at the unexpected reaction. The brunette walked over to the blonde boy and suddenly grabs his shirt. You son of a bitch. You're a member of this club too. Why yeah, Kiba did not know what to make of the situation. You sneaky bastard. You trying to get fresh with all these girls. Issei starts to shake the poor boy, you handsome fuck. I should teach you a lesson. I'm sorry. Issei, knock it off, Rias told the brunette, but he wasn't having any of it. You've soaked enough panties already. Tears began to comically flow down Issei's cheeks at this point. Come on, man. Give poor saps like us a chance. Rias sighed while closing her eyes. A small tick mark appeared on her head. Kaneko. Got it. Kaneko stood up and approached the two boys. It's not fair. It's no. Issei was cut off by a sudden blow to the head delivered by Kaneko. Kiba breathed in relief as Issei being dragged by Kaneko back to the couch. Issei was now sporting a large bruise on the top of his head. Forgive me, but I couldn't think of a proper way for you to calm down, Rias apologized. Now, the reason why I brought you here is because I have some questions for you. Alright. Shoot. Very well, then. First off, may I ask why exactly you skipped school for the entire week? Wait, seriously? Issei thought. Well, oh well, I haven't been feeling too good lately, so I just decided to say fuck it, you know. Is that right? Riaz asked while smirking, it was almost as if she could see right through him. Issei gulped, feeling tense all of a sudden. It wouldn't have anything to do with that date you had Sunday, would it? Issei's eyes widened. Wait, what? How does she know about that? Is she messing with me? Issei's head was running rampant with thoughts about the date. Throughout the week, Issei was texting Mitsuda and Motohama, trying his damnedest to remember the date that he told them about. However, they both thought he was insane and didn't believe a word of it. Issei quickly recovered and gave a smirk. Come on, you don't know about my reputation. How could a guy like me? Uma Mano. Issei stopped after Riaz said that name. What the hell? Riaz then pulled a picture from under her desk. It was a picture of him and Yuma together. We've been observing you for the past couple weeks. That man you saw is known as a fallen angel, same as this girl here, Riaz explained. Are you serious? Issei thought in shock. So Yuma is a fallen angel, just like he then thought back to Donaseek, more specifically his words. My name is Donaseek. And simply put, I'm here to put an end to what my colleague couldn't finish. No way. So she's the same as him? Issei began to glare at Riaz. Who the hell are you? Well, to put it simply, we are devils. Riaz said. Everyone here is. He looked around suddenly as Riaz announced this. Shit. I really am gonna die. Issei, Riaz spoke gently, I want you to know that we do not carry any intentions of hurting you. Issei rolled his eyes at this, tell that to the midget She-Hulk he thought, but made damn sure to keep his mouth shut, lest he wants to taste full extent of the loli's wrath. So exactly did you bring me here? Riaz smiled at the boy, I'm glad you asked. I hope that it's apparent now that you're being targeted by people for your sacred gear. So, I came up with a proposition for you. Okay? Issei was confused about this. How would you like to be a devil? Riaz asked suddenly. Okay, seriously, how many more curveballs are gonna be thrown at me tonight? Issei thought in shock and partial annoyance. Let me explain, Riaz said while pulling out a pawn piece for chess. Thousands of years ago there was a war waged between the devils, angels, and fallen angels. This was known as the Great War. Unfortunately, this war caused a lot of casualties on all sides. So, devils had to come up with a new system to preserve our race. Great. Because this is how I want to end my night, with a damn history lesson, Issei thought while wearing a bored expression, though he continued to listen. This system is known as the Evil Pea system, Riaz held up the pawn piece. We devils use these to reincarnate humans into one of our own. And then make these devils a part of a peerage. I myself am the leader of this peerage you see before you, or the king if you will. Wait, chess pieces are used to turn people into devils. Issei thought, surprised at the notion of such a concept. So you're all a part of this peerage, Thinji? He looks around at the others, who all seem to give a small but quick nod. Yes. These three are members of my peerage. My servants, Riaz explained. Something about the word servant rubbed him the wrong way, but he didn't show it. So, why tell me all this? Issei asked, though he had a rough idea. So, how about it? Would you like to join us as a devil? Riaz asked. You seem to be training, and becoming a devil will boost your strength. Plus, you wouldn't have to worry about anyone targeting you. You'd be under our protection. Issei sat there silently while Riaz was trying to sell him the benefits. Just as he was about to speak, Riaz continued. You'd also be able to gain servants of your own. Provided if you managed to rise up in the ranks of the Devil Society, she smiled as she gave her final point. Nah. Riaz's face seemed to brighten up. Fantastic. Then let me say welcome aboard, come again. Riaz frowned as she just realized that Issei turned her down. The brunette gave a heavy sigh before standing up. Look, all of that sounds cool and everything. And I appreciate you saving me back there. You'd. Riaz had an obviously disappointed look on her face, but wanted to understand Issei's reasoning for turning her down. It's just that I don't like the idea of being shackled to someone for all eternity as a servant. And the fact that you've been stalking me for the past couple weeks kinda pisses me off. Issei began to head to the door. And I refuse to believe that Yuma was actually trying to kill me. Issei, wait, Riaz stood up. I know that it wasn't right to spy on you. But we were trying to do what was best for you. There's a possibility that the fallen angels will come after you again and I won't be able to. Then don't worry about it, Issei cuts her off. He looks back at her with determination in his eyes. He then raises his arm up while pointing his index finger up in the air. I'm going to become a Harem King. The king is the one who stands out on top, right? He then drops his finger down to point at Riaz. I can't exactly be king while being shackled to you. Issei, like I said, you can obtain a peerage of your own once you obtain the status of a high class, Riaz starts to say, but shuts up when she stares into Issei's eyes. It looked like his gaze was full of determination. I appreciate the offer, but Issei spoke calmly while opening the door and turning his back. I'm gonna walk my path, reach my goals through my own means. The brunette shut the door behind him, leaving the stunned devils behind. Riaz began to look down slightly. Kiba was the first to speak. Well, some's interesting. The blonde boy was trying to be nice about it. However, Kaneko decided to go for a more straightforward approach. He's a pervert and an idiot. Bakeno smiled. He does seem interesting. It's honestly a shame that he turned down the offer. Right, Riaz. No, Riaz said, surprising everyone. We can't give up. You saw it, right? He holds the boosted gear. There's no way we can give that up. Bakeno looked at Riaz before sighing. Look, I'm not sure if we should pursue him anymore. He didn't like the idea of us watching him and he might lash out at us. Listen, Akeno. I refuse to give up someone with that much potential. I have a feeling that he would be a great asset to us. We need to recruit him through any means possible, Riaz argued back. But if we force it on him, he'll not only consider us a threat, but there's a real possibility that he'll make an enemy out of all devils. I suggest we cut our low. Akeno stopped speaking as she looked at the redhead. Riaz was looking down while biting the tip of her thumb. Her expression was one of frustration. Akeno knew what her friend was thinking about whenever she got like this, or rather, who she was thinking about. And lately, those thoughts have been running more rampant as that day got closer. Akeno put a hand on Riaz's shoulder. Alrighty, get it. Why don't you leave this to me for right now, okay? Riaz said nothing but understood. Akeno then walked over to Kiba with a smile on her face. Now, Yudo, do you think you could talk to Issei when he comes back to school? Kiba looked confused at this. Me? But I don't think I'll be able to convince. I'm not talking about convincing him. I'm talking about just hanging out with him. You know, try to be friends with him. It's much easier for you to do it since you're in some of his classes together. So you're saying I should try to gain his trust? Kiba asked, trying to figure out his senior. Exactly. So, will you do it? Akeno leaned forward. Meanwhile, Kiba was still hesitant about this plan. It was painfully clear that Issei didn't like him, so he had no idea why or how this would work. Akeno moved closer to Kiba, her lips right next to his ear. Come on, won't you do it for me? Kiba sighed. Very well. If that's your wish, then I'll do it, Kiba spoke, not fazed by Akeno's actions. Akeno pulled back while keeping a smile on her face. Great, don't let me down, now, she winked at the blonde. Yes ma'am, Kiba bowed before he leaves. Akeno pouted as Kiba left. Geez. He's no fun at all, she thought while looking over to Riaz, who was still in deep thought. While Issei was walking home, he could hear Drake chuckling in his head. What's so funny? You just surprised me, that's all. Really? How so? You had a golden opportunity to obtain a harem. And yet, you walked away from it. Issei grew silent for a moment. I stand by what I said. I want to do this my way. Ha 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 ha. Interesting. Very interesting. Seems you're more prideful than I initially thought. Well, I'm glad I can entertain you. Braid then thought about what Riaz said earlier. The Grimoire girl may have a point, however. What if this Yuma girl is with that fallen angel you fought earlier? What if she wants you dead? Drake asked seriously. Issei grew silent. Kid, then I'll die for her. At an abandoned church, Rainer was sprawled out on her bed. She let out a heavy sigh while looking at the scrunchie Issei gave her, her mind wandering back to the date she had with the brunette. Why can't I get that stupid boy out of my head? She thought in frustration. The fallen angel would always think back to that goofy smile that he always wore around her. If she was being honest with herself, she grew rather fond of that smile. Matter of fact, she found it pretty cubic. What am I doing? Stop. Stop. Rainer placed her right hand on the side of her head and gripped her hair slightly. Remember why you're doing this. That's right, this is all for Lord Azazel. And besides, she thought back to when she saw the charred remains of Issei's hoodie, assuming it was Issei himself. That guy's dead now. However, before she could dwell on her thoughts any longer, she saw a figure fly towards the church. She decided to head outside to take a closer look. When she stepped out, she was accompanied by two other girls. One was a tall, blue-haired woman wearing a business suit with her chest exposed, showing off her huge breasts. The other was a short blonde girl wearing a gothic Lolita dress and had her hair tied up in pigtails. Soon, Donasik landed in front of the three. Welcome back, Rainer was the first to greet him. Donasik let out a grunt, a usual telltale sign of his that something was wrong. The tall woman smirked. What's the matter? I take it things didn't go too well. As a matter of fact, no Caloriner, Donasik answered. I encountered the Grimoire heiress. And worse yet, I also found out she is allied with the current Red Dragon Emperor. This statement shocked all three girls. The Red Dragon Emperor? Are you serious? Rainer shouted. Who the hell could that be? It doesn't matter if we can get someone like that on our side. Before you get your hopes up, the host is honestly pretty weak. Hell, he only managed to get in one lucky punch. And besides, I already mentioned that he's allied himself with the Grimoire devil, Donasik said, cutting off whatever optimism that was filling up Rainer's head. So, he's a devil now? Rainer asked. More than likely at this point. In other words, he's our enemy, Donosik spoke coldly. After a brief moment of silence, the gothic Lolita girl, known as Middled, asked the group, so, what now? Do we go after the boy? No. Like I said, the Gremory bitch is onto us. So, we should lay low for right now. Middle tilted her head back, oh man. But it's so boring being cooped up all the time here. The raven-haired Fallen sighed while looking at her comrade, Donosik's right, though. Now that the devil knows we're in her territory, we have to be extra careful. We can't screw this up now. Remember why we're doing this. This is all for the sake of Lord Azazel. Rainer put her right fist over her chest. The others followed suit. For Lord Azazel. The other three shouted. A couple days after meeting the occult research club, Issei began to head back to school. On his way to the school building, he saw a girl drop her books. Aw man, he heard the girl say as she bent down to pick up her books. Issei walked up to her, deciding to help her out. He picked up one of the books for her. Here, he handed her the book with a smile on his face. She began to look at him with a smile, oh thank you oh my god. The girl shouted as she just realized who she was talking to. She quickly snatched the book out of his hand and ran like hell, kicking up a huge cloud of dust along the way. Run for your lives. The pervert is back. Issei could only sigh while slinging his school bag over his shoulder. Geez. Overreact, much. He muttered before he continued walking. The other girls saw him, the majority having disgust in their eyes. The perv's back. Really? Great. And I thought we'd only have to deal with the two, now. Why doesn't he just die already? Oh no, don't hold back. Tell me how you really feel Issei thought, slightly annoyed with the girls' reactions. He thought it was best to keep walking forward, ignoring all the girls. Issei was heading to class when two guys suddenly tackled him. Gah! Issei shouted. He clenched his fists on impulse, ready to beat the hell out of whoever tackled him. However, he stopped when he realized it was Mitsuda and Motohama. Oh. Hey guys, Issei deadpanned. Issei. We missed you so much. Motohama shouted while crying a river of tears. Yeah man. We had no one to talk to about porn. Mitsuda also shouted just as overdramatically as Motohama. The girls looked out in the hall in disgust. Issei could only drop a bead of sweat at these two. Nice to see you too, guys. Now Issei's eyebrow twitching, would you get the hell off of me? The two suddenly got up, sorry. The two said simultaneously. Issei got up with a sigh as he heads back to his desk. So, where have you been? How come you haven't come to school? Motohama asked. I told you guys, I just wasn't feeling well, Issei answered with a hint of annoyance in his tone. Could it have anything to do with that imaginary girlfriend you kept texting us about? Mitsuda asked. Issei growled quietly, I told you assholes already, she's not imaginary. Yeah. Keep telling yourself that, Motohama waved off Issei's claim. Issei growled a little more, only to eventually stop and sigh. Alright, fine. So, how have you guys been? Mitsuda grinned as Issei asked this. Ah dude, I've been great. I just got this game recently where you go to a church to be a priest in training and along the way you get to bang these sexy nuns. Issei meanwhile began to space out as his mind started to wander, though he made sure to give a casual response to try to make it seem like he's listening to Mitsuda. I need to get stronger. I can't do much of anything as of now Issei thought back to the time when he fought Donosik. The only reason I even got a hit in is because Ria saved me. And someone must have made that hole in the other monster's shell. Shit. This is frustrating. Hey Issei. You listening? Mitsuda asked, knocking Issei out of his thoughts. Huh? Oh yeah, Issei said quickly. The two guys stared at Issei for a moment. Are you sure you're alright? Motohama asked. Jesus, I keep telling you that I'm fine. Mitsuda and Motohama looked at each other and then at Issei. After a minute, they shrug and continue their conversation about the various hentai games that they played, much to the ire of the girls in the class. The perverted trio hung out in the courtyard during club activities. Mitsuda and Motohama began to peek in the girls' locker room once more. Meanwhile, Issei only sighed. I should start training again after school Issei thought while looking down at the grass. This is fantastic. Mitsuda shouted. I know, right these girls are so sexy. Motohama also shouted. Is it those perverts? Again that voice belonged to Murayama, clearly hearing the two through the wall. Damn it, they are so dead. Caddis yelled out. Issei could only sigh as he stood up, running ahead of Mitsuda and Motohama. Hey, wait. Motohama said while trying to get up as the kendo club started to chase down the boys. Issei continued to run while his thoughts began to wander once more. Wait a minute, that's it. I could use this as part of my training. I mean, I need to get faster after all. And what better motivator to pick up speed than a crowd of pissed off girls? He thought excitedly as he continued running. However, his thoughts were cut short when Mitsuda and Motohama catch up to Issei and suddenly grab his jacket, pulling him backward. The valiant comrade, Mitsuda muttered, running past Issei who has a bewildered expression on his face. Your sacrifice shall not be in vain, Motohama said while the two leave Issei behind. Oh, goddammit. Issei shouts as he tumbles to the ground. He recovers quickly only to see the girls close in on him. Shit. This is bad. What do I do? Issei tried to desperately run away. Just as he was about to turn a corner, he was suddenly grabbed by someone. Gah. He shouted, caught off guard by the sudden movement. Issei looked at the person dragging him by the wrist, only to find out it's Kiba. The brunette was naturally baffled at this course of action that the prince was taking. Kiba suddenly skidded to a halt, and just as Issei was about to question him, he suddenly threw the brunette behind a bush. In here, Kiba whispered. A few minutes later, the girls started to approach them, which made Issei realize that they ran quite a ways away in a short amount of time. Jesus, he's fast, Issei thought. The girls stopped to a halt when they saw their beloved prince. Ah. It's Kiba. Kata said happily. Sorry to bother you, Kiba, but have you seen that perverted Issei around here? Murayama said while looking around, making Issei freeze in place. Oh please don't find me. Issei thought frantically. Kiba, however, smiled at the girls while pointing at the direction opposite of the bushes. I believe I saw him go that way. Thank you so much. The girl said before running in the direction that Kiba pointed, all the while shouting about killing the pervert. Kiba let out a small sigh before looking over at the bushes. Okay. They're gone, he said with a smile on his face. Yeah. Issei breathed out as he jumps out of the bushes. He looked over to see Kiba smiling at him. You alright, man? Kiba asked. Yeah. Thanks. I guess, Issei said confusedly. Why did this guy help me? Issei began to walk away, but Kiba grabbed Issei's wrist again. Hey, wait. DCH. This prick. Issei looked back at Kiba, who was still smiling at him. What? Issei said, the irritation in his tone blatantly clear. I was thinking maybe we could grab a quick bite to eat. You know, just you and me, Kiba offered suddenly. Wait, is that why you saved me? Just so you could hang out with me? Issei narrowed his eyes. And more importantly, why does it feel like you're asking me out on a date? Issei had a worried expression on his face, though went unnoticed by Kiba. Well, I mean, Kiba scratched the side of his face. Man, this is kinda difficult. About a minute later, Kiba sighed and looked back at the brunette. Look, I kind of feel like that we got off on the wrong foot. So, it's more of a way of saying that I'd like to start over. Issei raised his eyebrow at that. Really so, Riaz didn't put you up to this? Huh? Oh no. This is just something I came up with. And besides, this was actually the vice president's idea. Kiba made sure to keep that thought to himself. Sigh. Alright. I'll do it, but I want to make one thing clear, if this is about recruiting me, then the answer is no. Fine by me. The thought hasn't even crossed my mind. Kiba smiled. The two went their separate ways as Drake started to talk to Issei in his mind. These devils seem insistent on getting you to their side. Yeah, no shit. It's kind of annoying, honestly. So, what's the plan? Play along for now. I'm not in the mood nor am I strong enough to be getting into a confrontation at the moment. After school, Issei and Kiba went to a fast food joint, per Kiba's suggestion. Issei bit into the hamburger that he ordered. Kiba drank soda from a straw as the two sat in silence. Needless to say, it was awkward for the blonde heartthrob. Come on, think of something to say. Kiba has been trying to strike up a conversation with the perverted teen for the past 10 minutes. However, nothing came up. This was a new experience for him to say the least. Meanwhile, Issei was too busy with his own thoughts to even bother paying attention to Kiba. Maybe I should skip training for right now and look for Yuma. Issei thought back to when he was told by Riaz that she was a fallen angel just like Donosik. Maybe she's different. Maybe she won't kill me when I see Harry. Hopedamatok. Okay. I just need to forget about that for right now and try to think of something else. Well, I do have this blonde prick trying to talk to me. Issei didn't really want to talk to the guy. He wasn't interested in becoming a devil to serve under Riaz. Plus, there's that whole thing about Kiba being the most popular guy in school, which didn't help matters in trying to appeal to the brunette. And again, he did pay for this. Ah, fuck it. I'm starting to get tired of the silence anyways. What's it like? Issei spoke all of a sudden, surprising Kiba. What? Being a slave. What's it like? Issei elaborated on his initially vague question. Kiba frowned at Issei's choice of words, but quickly replaced it with a smile. It's actually not that bad. Even though we are servants, the president treats us like family, Kiba explained. Huh? Really? Issei asked. Well then again, Riaz does seem nice. Nice hair, nice face, nice eyes, nice cheeks. Issei started to grow a lecherous smile as his mind's eye began to travel downward to the Harris assets. Issei? Huh? Oh shit, Issei quickly shook his head of any perverted thoughts before rubbing his head. Sorry. What were you saying? Oh right, Kiba compassed himself quickly. Anyways, I was just gonna say that our president is very kind to us. She can be quite affectionate at times. Issei became stiff after Kiba mentioned that. Affectionate. Issei then began to conjure up a fantasy in his head. Kiba stands before a naked Riaz, caressing his cheeks gently while giving an alluring smile. Yufufufu. You've worked very hard today. Now, I believe you deserve an award. Iridid gave a seductive smile to the prince while laying him down on the bed. Then, she slowly straddles his waist and, "You son of a bitch." Issei suddenly shouts as he's brought back to reality. He immediately reaches over the table and grabs Kiba's shirt. "You mean she does that kind of stuff for you?" Issei shakes Kiba violently. Bastard. Wait. I think you misunderstood me. We don't do anything like that. Please stop. You're causing a scene." Kiba frantically shouted while pointing to the right. Issei looked over to see a few customers and employees looking at the two like they were insane. Issei sighed and let go of Kiba. The next couple of minutes were spent in silence, the two of them feeling slightly embarrassed about causing a scene. Issei eventually put his fist over his mouth while clearing his throat. "So what does the club do?" Issei asked. "Huh? What do you mean?" Kiba spaced out for a moment, still embarrassed about earlier. "The club. You know, the orc. What do you guys do?" "Oh ho. We make contracts with people," Kiba said, getting back into the conversation. He then brought his voice to a lower tone, though not necessarily a whisper. "Humans summon us through flyers that we hand out. Then, we do whatever they wish, for a price of course." "What, they give up their souls or something?" Issei asked. Kiba, however, shook his head. "No. That's not something we do anymore. We just get money or something else that's valuable." "Holy shit, you get paid?" Issei asked the blonde boy who nodded in response. "Nice. What do you do exactly?" Kiba smiles as Issei seems genuinely interested in talking. "Well, it's a little different for everybody. For example, I myself women in their 20s who want me. RRRGH, Issei growls as he reaches for Kiba again. "The cook and or clean around the house for them and nothing else," Kiba added quickly, which made Issei grumble and sit back down. The blonde sighed in relief. He didn't want Issei causing another scene, nor did he want to be shaken violently again. Just as Kiba was about to speak again, the front door to the restaurant opened up and in came 4 high school students. Although, their uniforms are different than the ones from Kuo Academy, as their uniforms are navy blue. The students themselves look like delinquents. The leader had bright orange hair and a pompadour style. He looked around and spotted Issei and Kiba. "Yo. Hi do," the leader said as the group approached the boys' table. The two teens looked up to see the guy hovering over them. "Great. Delinquents," Kiba thought in mild annoyance. The last thing he needed was interference by a bunch of jerks with their heads up their asses. Issei, however, greeted the leader with a smile. "Hey Hashi. How you been?" Kiba looked surprised. "You know these guys?" "Huh?" Issei looked over at Kiba. "Oh yeah. We were classmates back in junior high." The bead of sweat dropped down the side of Kiba's head. "Junior high? What kind of school did he go to? Anyways, what do you guys want?" Issei stood up while smirking at the guys. It almost looked like he was ready to fight. "You know exactly what we want, Haidu. 3 months ago, you messed us up pretty good. And now, the boys and I want a little payback. So how about you finish up your date with your boyfriend and we step outside for a little chat, alright?" Hashi demanded. Excuse me," Kiba was about to say, but was shortly cut off by Issei. "Oh, what's wrong baby? You jealous?" Issei said in a mocking manner which irritated Hashi to no end. "What did you say, you prick?" "It's okay, cupcake. I still have room for you in my heart. After all, no one can take a fisting like you can." Issei brought his right hand to Hashi's cheek, which the delinquent was quick to grab. "You bastard, you wanted to." Hashi tightened his grip on Issei, which didn't seem to faze the brunette. Issei quickly yanked his wrist out of Hashi's grip. "Maybe. We should step outside and find out. Got a place in mind, sugar?" "Okay. You're stopping that shit right now," Hashi growled. "What's wrong? You used to love it when I talk dirty to you. Or am I not good enough for you now that you got your fuck buddies back there?" This time, the guys behind Hashi started to growl in anger. "So gonna step outside or what?" Issei smirked. "TCH. Fine," Hashi said while heading out and Issei began to follow. Kiba began to get up. "Issei wait." The brunette looked back at the blonde. "Later, man. I'll see you at school tomorrow," Issei said while giving a quick wave. Kiba could only stand there, stunned for a moment at what just occurred. Sure, he heard about Issei getting into fights in the past, but what shocked him was his attitude. It almost seemed like the idea of fighting excited him. On the back streets of Kuo, Issei was walking with Hashi's small gang that were surrounding him. Eventually, they stopped when they felt that no one was around. The gang then took a few steps back from Issei. "So, we're doing this here?" Issei asks while taking off his jacket. He looks around to see the guys laughing lightly. "Something funny?" Issei's question was answered when the guys pulled out weapons. Hashi pulled a bike chain while the other three pull out a bat, a bokken, and a pair of brass knuckles respectively. Heh. We can't slack off when we're fighting you. Hashi smirked. So you brought in toys. Nice. So how about we make this quick? Issei got into a brawling stance. I heard about this new game from a buddy of mine. I don't know, something about banging nuns. Thought I'd check it out. Hashi started chuckling, you ain't known as the perverted beast for nothing. This is perfect, Issei thought with a grin. I can use these pricks for my training. Just keep in mind that there's a world of difference between supernatural beings and petty thugs. Drake chimed in. There's also a world of difference between petty thugs and sandbags, Issei countered. The brunette's smile grew wider. Let's rock. Issei threw the first punch at the closest guy, the one with the brass knuckles. However, Issei couldn't connect the punch due to Hashi hitting the brunette in the back of the head with the bike chain. Ah! Issei shouted as the back of his head started to bleed. Unfortunately, the teen took a brass-knuckled right cross to the face, causing him to stagger. Haidu. The thug with the bat shouted while raising said bat up in the air. He swung it down at Issei, who managed to block it with his right arm, though it caused some pain. Shit. That nearly made my arm go numb, Issei grunted while thrusting his right leg into the guy's stomach. Issei turns around to see the delinquent with a bokken swing the weapon at Issei's head. However, Issei quickly countered with an elbow to the nose, which he quickly followed up with a right hook to the jaw. The moment the guy hits the ground, Hashi swings his bike chain at Issei once more. However, Issei quickly catches the chain. Sorry babe, chains only do so much for me, Issei quipped, causing Hashi's eyebrow to twitch violently. Using this moment of distraction, Issei yanked the chain out of Hashi's hand. The thug with the bat sneaks up behind Issei and swings the metal bat at the brunette's ribs. Blood spurts out of Issei's mouth, but he grits his teeth and quickly turns around. Alright, fucker. I'm done with your shit. The perverted teen threw a left cross at the thug's nose. He then threw 4 hooks, alternating between his left and right fists, at the delinquent's stomach before ending the small combo with a left uppercut to the jaw. This sent the guy flying up in the air for a brief moment before hitting the ground. Issei's vision was growing hazy. I need to finish this quick, he thought. Hashi suddenly grabs Issei from behind, locking his arms. Haha. What you gonna do now, Haidu? He says as the thug with the brass knuckles approaches the two. Hey Hashi, remember your safe word. Issei smirks at the easily agitated thug. Fuck you. Hashi shouts as Issei hangs his head down. Wrong answer. Issei suddenly swings his head back, hitting Hashi's nose. Issei then grabs the thug's orange hair and throws him over the shoulder. Hashi's body then collides with the remaining thug and the two drop to the ground. Hashi slowly sits up with a pained grunt. You bastard. I'm gonna kill you, he said angrily. However, his expression changed as he looks at Issei. Issei had a malicious smile on his face, his eyes were hidden behind his bangs, and the blood all over his face gave him the air of a monster. What the fuck are you? Hashi asked quietly. Oh you know, just some perverted beast, was all Issei said before suddenly swinging his right foot at Hashi's head, knocking the delinquent unconscious. Issei stepped backward and leaned up against a wall. The teen let out a sigh while putting his right hand on his forehead. Geez, how pathetic, the boy smiled bitterly before grabbing his jacket and walking away. No, we should probably look for Yuma. I think you should get some rest, kid. Drake suggested, you took a hell of a beating back there. I'm surprised you're still walking. Dude, I'm fine. However, Issei stumbled slightly. He slammed his hand on the wall and leans on it for support. Goddamn, he hate it when you're right. Besides, I don't think I should approach her with all this blood on my face. It'd probably scare her. Issei then looked up to see the sun setting in the distance, smiling as his mind flashes back to the date with Yuma. He'd fear that the adoration you have for this woman is turning into an obsession. Drake thought, concerned about the state of the boy's mind. Hibba was heading to the old schoolhouse after talking with Issei, sighing as he wondered what the brunette was up to after he left with those guys. I wonder if he's okay. He thought, the president would probably kill me if Issei ends up dead. Then again, I think he'll be fine. The blonde prince stopped in his tracks when he saw 3 girls approach him. He could clearly hear one of them say, "Ah. It's Kibba." Kibba gave them a smile and a wave. Hi. How are you ladies today? The girls looked at him with blushes on their faces. We're fine, the girl in front spoke. Actually, we were wondering if you'd like to hang out with us today. Yeah. Maybe do some karaoke. Please. We'd love it if you'd come with us. The girls spoke one after another rather quickly. Kibba put his hands up while keeping that charming smile on his face. Ladies. I'd really love to go, but I got club activities and it's really important that I get there. Oh, all 3 girls said, disappointed that they don't get their chance with the Kuo prince. Maybe some other time, okay. The blonde boy said, trying to be nice while walking past them. Bye girls. I'll see you at school tomorrow. Okay. Later, handsome. Hiba and the three girls went their separate ways as the blonde boy continued to walk to the old schoolhouse. Once he was a considerable distance away from them, Hiba let out a sigh. Honestly, I feel so bad when I turn down girls like that sometimes. But I guess it can't be helped. Hiba eventually reached his destination and started to head to the club room. He opens the door and gives a quick greeting to everyone. Well, Hiba. How did it go? Riaz asked with a smile on her face. Issei was currently heading home, limping slightly as his head, right arm, and ribs were in a great amount of pain. Well, at least he was trying to go home. He actually ended up lost due to wandering around in the back streets. Well shit. This is usually the part when more of those dumbass thugs show up whenever I wander back here. I guess this is a good day, the boy talked to himself while chuckling. Issei became frozen stiff when he heard that scream. What the hell was that? He thought while frantically looking for the source of that scream. Against his better judgment, he ran towards where he think the sound came from. Eventually, he stopped when he came across a street where there was a massive figure before him. The figure had a large tail, resembling something of a snake. However, the upper body looked like it was in the shape of a human, albeit incredibly bulky. It was hunched over and judging by the disgusting crunching sounds, it appeared to be eating. Issei's eyes widened as the creature started to rise. Kid, you need to get out of there. Right now. With injuries like that, your chances of survival are incredibly low. Drake warned Issei. However, the brunette didn't move immediately. He was too scared to move. The creature turned towards Issei's direction slowly. The boy immediately hid behind the corner of a building so as to hopefully not be noticed. The creature moved slowly, its massive tail slithering on the ground. Soon, the monster was illuminated by a single light from a street post. Its upper body was gray and heavily muscular, its hair was long and black, its face so wide and featureless that it could have been confused for a mask, the eyes were narrow and black as the void, and the mouth stained with blood. The creature smiled widely, revealing that its teeth were also stained with blood. That was delicious, the monster finally spoke, its voice was garbled and distorted, almost as if it was pitch shifted to a degree. But I need more. It moved toward Issei's direction. Issei himself was shaking and couldn't bring himself to move. Damn it. What the hell is wrong with me? The brunette berated himself. I fought off that stupid snail thing and that fallen angel. So, why the fuck should this be any different? The monster stopped as it sniffed the air. I smell blood, the creature said with a wide grin as it looked around. Issei froze the moment he said that. He knew that the monster was talking about Issei's blood, especially considering that his face was still bloody from the earlier fight. Come on, damn it. Move. I'm injured enough as is. I can't fight that thing right now. I need to. Unfortunately, a massive hand suddenly slammed against the building that Issei was hiding behind. The monster suddenly peeked its featureless face around the corner, its pupilless eyes widened. Found you, ooh. The monster said excitedly. Issei stumbled before falling down on his butt. Holy shit. I'm gonna die. The creature's large hand moved down toward Issei, but Issei recovered quickly and stumbled to his feet to dodge the hand that slammed down on the ground. Issei kept running despite the pain while the monster chased after him. The brunette tried to desperately lose the monster by turning corners. Come on, dude. Just get the fuck out of here. Issei eventually hid behind another corner while breathing heavily. He tried to take it easy due to his injuries. The snake monster found Issei once more and landed in front of him. Issei backed away shakily. However, he eventually stopped himself from moving backward. God damn it, you are so pathetic. Come on, Issei, the brunette berated himself once more while gritting his teeth. Nut the fuck up. He growled in his head while holding up his left hand in the air. Boosted gear. Issei shouted as the gauntlet appeared on his arm while a boost was announced. The creature stopped as it looked at Issei. Oh. A sacred gear? Sorry, but I'm not a big fan of playing with my food. Tough shit, asshole. I'm not gonna be your dinner tonight. Issei shouted as he got into a brawling stance. I see, Ria said while frowning. She was just told by Kiba about the day that he spent with the brunette. While Riaz was slightly happy that Issei doesn't seem completely hostile towards the devils, her frown came about when Kiba mentioned that the perverted team clearly had no interest. Then there was that thing with the thugs. So, after he followed the delinquents, you came back here? Riaz asked. Yes. That's right, Kiba reaffirmed everything he just told his master. He saw Riaz with a slightly frustrated expression. Maybe we can. Oh no, he heard Riaz mumble. This continued for a solid 2 minutes. Wait, that's it. Riaz suddenly stood up, startling everyone. Maybe we could offer him join the club. Will that work, President? Kiba asked. I mean, he's shown no clear interest in joining us so. But that's just it, Yudo, Riaz cut off her servant, he doesn't want to become a devil. So, how about he joins us as merely a member of the occult research club? That way, he gets to stay human and we have a new ally on our side. The servants looked at one another as their master suggested this. That could work, Kaneko chimed in. That's not a bad idea. Yufufu, Akeno smiled at her best friend. Very well, then. Yudo, tomorrow I want you to talk to Issei about joining the occult research club. Yes ma'am. Buha. Issei spurts out blood as his back hits the side of a building hard. He drops to the ground as he glares angrily at the source of the damage. The snake monster backhanded Issei the moment the brunette summoned his sacred gear. Issei stands up slowly as another boost is heard from the gauntlet. The mask-faced creature clenched his fist and began to swing it down at Issei. Issei clenched his left fist and swung it at the stray's own boost. The two fists collided against one another. Unfortunately, the devil had more power on his side and crushed Issei with his fist, the boy bouncing off of the ground from the devastating impact. Issei tumbled across the ground before catching himself by slamming his left fist into the ground, causing him to skid across for a brief moment. God damn it. The stray looked at him with annoyance. Alright, brat. I'd rather you die quickly so I can enjoy my meal. Idled you already. I'm not your fucking dinner, Issei said weakly. Boost. Fa. How annoying. How about I make you nice and tender? The stray stuck out its tongue and stretched it out towards Issei. Because of course, the fucker can stretch his tongue, Issei thought in annoyance as he tried to move out of the tongue's reach. Unfortunately, due to both the speed of the tongue and his injuries, Issei's leg got caught by the tongue as he's suddenly flung up in the air. Issei lets out screams of pain as he's slammed into the ground and some of the buildings, the glass from the windows cutting him slightly. The tongue starts to retract as Issei's brought closer to the snake devil. Boost. Kahahaha. You'll fill me up nice and good, boy, the stray said excitedly as Issei was just below the creature's jaw. Now. Issei thought before swinging his left fist right into the snake's chin, forcing his mouth shut from the impact. Jaya. My tongue. You made me bite my fucking tongue, you asshole. Gee. That's what you get, prick, Issei said quietly as he notices that a part of the stray's tongue is dangling. The guy's weakness is the fact that he's lazy. He's made that perfectly clear not just by the way he talks, but his actions, too. If he put enough power into any of his attacks, I would have been killed instantly. And now that I've got rid of his best weapon, Issei tried to charge forward after getting another boost, but he staggered as the pain in his body is too great. Oh fuck off. You can't be serious right now. The stray noticed the moment of hesitation and took advantage of it by trying to crush Issei with his tail. Luckily for the brunette, he barely managed to roll to the left before the tail swung down like a guillotine. Issei didn't have any time to gain any footing as the devil's fist came flying towards the boy. He desperately tried to cross his arms over his in a vain attempt to block it, but the fist slammed into the boy's body. Issei was then launched into the air via uppercut. Issei hit the concrete hard after flying several feet away from the creature. I can't move, Issei thought weakly. Everything hurts him, gonna die. Issei tried to get up, but his body is clearly failing him. Your body has reached its limit. I'm sorry. Drake spoke sadly. Well shit. I really am weak, huh? Issei turned his head to the right, only for his eyes widen in horror. What he saw were the three girls that Kiba talked to earlier on their way home from Carrick. All three of them laughing, ignorant of the situation and the perverted boy severely injured on the floor. I know those girls. They go to my school, Issei reached his hand out to them. Get out of her ego way. Issei wanted to speak. He wanted to say something. Anything. But the best a boy could muster was a few weak grunts that would go unnoticed by anyone. It didn't help that his body was hidden in the shadows so the girls couldn't see him. To make matters worse, the snake monster was getting closer. Now, time to get my nutrients, the thing said quietly. However, he stopped when he heard giggling. Its eyes grew big for a moment as it looked over in curiosity. He saw the girls getting closer and closer. On the other hand, he could skip straight to dessert. The snake's eyes widened and turned the corner, charging at the unsuspecting the girls. No. Stop. Issei was panicking. Don't go after them. I'm your meal, damn it. Not them. Issei's thought stopped when he heard them scream. Not only was the stray's body obstructing the view, but the boy's vision was getting more and more blurry. However, it was painfully clear what was going on. The stray devil took a huge bite out of each of the girls, mutilating their bodies. Soon, all that was left was a pile of entrails and a puddle of blood. How filling. That was delicious. The stray said happily. Boost. Issei laid there silently for a brief moment. Boost. His mind briefly thought back to the times when he saw those girls in school. Sure, most of the time they looked at him in disgust or chased after them. However, he would also think back to when they were smiling. Whether it had anything to do with him, it didn't matter. All that mattered was the girls seemed their cutest when they were happy. It doesn't matter if it sounded lame, cheesy, stupid, or even creepy, something about seeing a girl smile always brightened up the boy's day. That's the kind of smile that he wished his harem would have. Boost. Issei began to slowly get up. Boost. But now, he can't see them smile. He can no longer see them because they're dead. Boost. Those girls are dead because he was weak. Boost. Because he couldn't fight a monster by himself because he wasted his time fighting some stupid thugs. Boost. He can't see their cute smiles anymore because of that monster. Issei charged full speed ahead at the stray devil, no longer caring about the pain. He jumped up in the air, reeling his left fist back. HN. The stray devil, distracted by his other meal for a moment, turned to look at Issei up in the air. So you're still alive. Great. Now I get to really spoil mice. The stray devil's words were cut off by a powerful punch to the face. Issei could have sworn that for the briefest of moments, he saw a small light extend out of his fist. Impossible. He wasn't this strong. He wasn't this strong before. The snake monster's body crashed into the building while Issei landed on his feet. There was blood all over the boy's body. Kid. This is dangerous. If you push yourself any further, you'll die. Drag warned. I don't care anymore, Issei thought quietly, shocking the dragon. I don't care if I destroy my body. I don't care if I die in the process, all that matters is I'm gonna fucking kill you. Issei roared from the top of his lungs. Explosion. After the discussion they had, the orc began working on their contracts. After Kaneko returned from hers, she saw Keno talking to Rias. I've just gotten a message from the Archduke, there's a stray devil causing havoc in the neighborhood, Keno informed her friend with a serious expression on her face. I see. Rias then looked at her other two servants. Everyone. Let's get moving. We have another stray running about thinking that they can cause trouble in my territory. Let's take it down. Yes ma'am. All her servants said. Red energy poured out of Issei's body. The energy was flowing like a calm river yet aggressive as a typhoon. The stray devil looked scared for the first time since the battle started, yet he slammed his tail down and charged at the brunette. Issei himself also charged forward at the snake, reeling his left fist back as the stray also pulled his fist back. The two fists collide against one another once more. However, the stray could feel himself being pushed back. In a surprising move, Issei pulled back his right fist and swings it at the stray's hand, knocking it away. The brunette growls in pain as he could feel his right hand practically shatter from the impact. However, it didn't matter to him anymore. He just wanted to win by any means possible. For the briefest moment he saw something shoot out of my hand. Issei thought back to when he punched the devil in the face. He remembered seeing a light extend slightly, but it didn't go very far. Is that from the energy that shot out of me? Maybe I can shoot it farther. I just need to focus, as Issei then concentrated all the energy into his left hand as his aura surged once more. You bastard. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Jaya. The stray devil charged at Issei, mouth wide open. The brunette closed his eyes as he continued to concentrate. Visualization is key here. I just need to visualize a massive beam of light shooting out of my hand. He could feel all his energy focus into his hand. He felt something there. He opened his eyes to see the stray devil closing in on him and a small ball of light in his hand. What? Only this much? No, it doesn't matter now. The snake brought his body down so that he was eye level with Issei. I just need to pour everything I got into this one shot. Issei pulled his left fist back as the little ball was still floating in the air. Split this fucker's skull open. Dragon. Issei launched his fist at the ball of energy, hitting it with all his weight poured behind it. Shoot. The moment his fist collided with the ball, the energy was launched at the stray, turning into a massive red beam. Braya. The brunette continued to shout with all his might as the blast hits the devil right in the face. The wave of energy practically went through the snake's whole body, turning it into ash as the monster lets out a dying scream. Issei stood there, breathing heavily with his fist stretched out. Gotcha bitch, Issei grinned as he was victorious. A few minutes prior, Rias and her peerage arrived in the neighborhood. Now? Where could he be? Rias asked as they searched for the stray devil. Kaneko started to sniff the air and glared intensely. I smell blood. The white-haired lowly points in the direction where Issei was fighting. Let's get moving, Rias said as they all start to head toward that direction. However, all of them stopped dead in their tracks when they saw a massive beam fly out across the sky. They had no idea what it was. What they did know was that they needed to get there and fast. They all ran as fast as they could toward the source of the blast. Soon, they reached their destination and all of them are shocked at what they see. Issei? Rias asked quietly. They bear witness to the brunette standing still with his arms stretched out. In front of the brunette is what appears to be a severed tail and some of the buildings caught on fire. Kiba was the first to react as he ran toward the boy. Issei. However, the perverted team didn't respond. Upon closer inspection, Kiba could see the light fade from his eyes as the brunette begins to collapse. The blonde immediately caught him and checked for a pulse, only to feel relieved that he was still alive. Issei. Rias shouted as the other girls approached him. It's okay. He's only unconscious, Kiba reassured him. But he's injured pretty badly. We need to get him to the club room as soon as possible. Still, though, he looked at the smoldering tail, assuming that was originally the devil they were meant to hunt down. I can't believe that he defeated Issei all by himself. I'll take him, Ria said as she grabbed a hold of Issei. His face falling down into her chest. She looked down at him with a smile. You're an interesting one, Issei. End of the part 1. So how was this story? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this story with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.